Hiya, and welcome back to Homecoming Morenatsu Revisited. The game that teaches us that... Is this going to end exactly how I think it's going to end? I don't know. My microphone just seemed a little too loud in my headphones. Anyways, let's just hop right in. Oh, right. Just pretend you didn't see anything. Just pretend you didn't see anything. And what about you two? What's your favorite steak sauce? My eyes opened wide. Hope this won't spark another argument. I'll humor him, though. What is my favorite steak sauce? Plain takoyaki or cheese? What about blood? Cheese. If I had to choose, I'd probably go with cheese. On the other side of the table, Tori lets out a beastly scream. Yeah! Hang on. I'm gonna do a gag just for this. Your Tori let out a beastly scream. Yeah! That's it, that was the gag. Hero, I'm so glad you agree. Cheese really is the best, isn't it? Is what I like really that important? Tor gets up from his chair and starts doing a little dance in front of Kuya. Cheese. 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 The fuck just happened? Oh my god, fuck off Google Drive. Everybody gets up for cheese. Shut up, nobody cares. Kyouji leans in close, chuckling. I knew I remembered right. You were always a big fan of cheese. I'm not exactly sure how to interpret that. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, it doesn't matter in the end. Everything tastes good when you're in good company, right? Definitely. Admittedly, a somewhat naive take on things, but one I can wholeheartedly agree with. Indeed! We go back to our plates and eat in silence for a few minutes. All around us, conversations continue between our other friends. Whether we meant to or not, it seems we're living up to Sotro's ideal. So, Kyouji? He stops watching the others and turns his attention to me. You play soccer with Sotoro, is that right? That's correct! It's how we met, in fact! I used to play soccer back in my old school, so when I moved to Minasato, it made sense that I joined the soccer club. I think I remember them mentioning Sotoro being new to Minasato. I wonder where he used to live before he moved. His first day on the team, he didn't say much, but he played incredibly well. The team was more than happy to have him. Of course, nowadays you can't get him to stop chatting. Mr. Takahara! Looks like Kyouji enjoys teasing Sotoro. I guess I'm just a new victim now that I'm around again. If Kyouji says you're good at soccer, it's a big compliment. Back then he used to be a terror on the field. The other teams were scared of him. I give Kyouji a light nudge on the shoulder. Sotoro beams when he hears me talking about Kyoji's past as a soccer player. It's strange talking about a shared past to someone who hasn't lived it. I can really feel the 5 years of absence. Ain't that right, Kyouji? He rubs his nose and smiles. That's one way to put it for sure. I don't know if I'm all that impressive, though. He chuckles when he says that, but his tone doesn't seem very lively. I forgot that Kyouji was a dog. I'm sorry, I genuinely forgot that Kyouji was a canine. I genuinely forgot he was a dog. I genuinely forgot that he was a dog. A human fucking being? Like, let me explain my weird as hell thought process. Let me explain it. I see his silhouette, very first thing that comes to mind is, oh, that's a human person. That's a human person. And then I notice the ears and I'm like, wait, what? And then I see his nose and I'm like, oh god, this is entering uncanny territory. And then I realize that he's a dog and I'm like, oh wait, no, that's not creepy. I don't know where my brain went. How do I not see the nose first? I focus on the eyes. Okay? I focused on the eyes. I just, like... like, if you just focus on the eyes, and you see the dark circles around them, you would think, oh shit, he doesn't fucking sleep. Which, he doesn't. Then you see the nose, and you're like, oh wait, that's just a fucking dog. And then you notice the ears, and you're like, oh yeah, that's definitely a dog. That's a human person. Exactly. Why did my brain go there? He chuckles when he says that, but his tone doesn't seem very lively. I remember Kyouji always being excited to talk about soccer, but maybe 5 years of constant practice has made it more routine than anything else. Anyway, enough about soccer. Did you know some of the others also participate in clubs, Hiroyuki? Like Konosuke? No, not Konosuke. His chronic tardiness would make club activities hard to manage. Yeah, I can't imagine any club willing to put up with that. I'm willing to put up with that. But as you can see from the camera strapped around his neck, he still spends a good deal of time taking pictures. It seems he enjoys them more than anything lately. For as long as I could remember, Konosuke's brought his camera everywhere he's gone. Some things never change, even after 5 years. How about Kuya? He never had an interest in them, he just heads straight home. Really? That's surprising. Seems pretty in shape for someone who doesn't do sports. Mr. Tatsuki would be a really good addition to the soccer club. I agree with you, Taro, but I think he prefers to spend his time practicing guitar. He's become quite good at it over the years. What about Shun? Shun has many familial responsibilities now that he's 18. He has to attend religious ceremonies, be trained in the family's traditions, and eventually has to take over when his grandfather passes away. Even if he weren't busy, he'd probably spend most of his time playing video games. Yeah, that's Shun for you. Juichi is part of the judo team now, and Torahiko has joined the swimming team. I hear both are doing very well in their respective clubs. Huh, that explains why they're so fit now. Especially Torahiko. Juichi and judo makes sense. He was always the one throwing Tora around back then. What was it that got Torahiko into swimming, though? I'm not quite sure. I wager he decided to do this for his own health. Or maybe he had someone he wanted to impress. What? You think he's got a girlfriend? Well, like I said, I'm not sure. I never really thought about Torahiko getting involved with someone. Then again, that makes a lot of sense. We're almost adults, so I suppose a lot of the guys have had experiences by now. Probably the only one who hasn't. They'll have something cool that makes them stand out, unlike me. I'm just a plain old nobody. No hobbies unless you count watching anime and playing video games. No wonder I've never had anyone interested in me back in Osaka. Are you okay, Mr. Nishimura? Did I just space out mid-conversation? Sorry. I'm not used to talking this much anymore, so I kind of lost track of what was going on. I rubbed the back of my head awkwardly. Anyway, what were we talking about? Ew, weren't we talking about the soccer club earlier? Now that he mentions that, I noticed that Kyouji definitely led us away from that topic. Were we? I always do this, Mr. Takahara. What do you mean, Taro? You always switch topics when you gotta talk about yourself. Oh, I get it. Kyoji's more shy than he lets on. For once, it seems Kyouji doesn't have the upper hand when it comes to teasing. You wouldn't know it because he never mentioned it, Mr. Nishimura. Mr. Takahara is the best captain the soccer team has ever had. Nonsense, Taro. You haven't been here for very long, how would you know that? Everyone else in the club says so, of course. Kyouji is obviously a bit bothered by the lavish praise Sotoro was showering him with, but I'm enjoying the sight of the teaser being teased. Back in the day, nobody in our group could even come close to touching Kyouji. He was like lightning on the field. Shah! Try to make a sound resembling a lightning bolt with my mouth while gesturing wildly with my arms. Sotaro chuckles at my grand display, but Kyouji merely fidgets in his seat. I'm nothing special, really. I'm only doing what my father would have wanted. He takes a moment to think before speaking again. And the whole team is relying on me to perform well, so I can't let them down. Especially a young, wide-eyed prodigy like Taro here. Mr. Takahara. He's flailing his arms again as Kyouji laughs under his breath. Seems poor Sotaro can't handle being teased. Seems like you've become the dad of the group, haven't you? He stops laughing and looks at me, surprised. Did I say something weird? I mean, it's because you're so fatherly now. Someone we can trust. I didn't mean to imply you look old or something. Instead of being angry, Kyouji lights up and rubs his nose. Well, I don't know if I'd put it like that, but I appreciate it nonetheless. Thanks, Hiroyuki. Notice Sotaro fidgeting in his chair, looking almost uncomfortable. I hope I didn't say something stupid. At that moment, I hear a yelp coming from my left. That's it! I've had it with you! Wow, Shun being this angry is pretty rare. I wonder what happened. I'm gonna release my overdrive on your ass, Tora! I refuse to believe that my mind isn't the only mind here that went straight to the gutter. I refuse to believe that. Torihiko x Shunko... Torihiko Shima x Shunkodori when. On closer look, I can see his face is covered in something. Is that tomato? In one fell swoop, he grabs a giant spoonful of veggies from his plate and throws them at Torihiko with surprising accuracy. Too slow, pipsqueak. With even more surprising agility, Tora ducks and the veggies splatter on the wall behind him. You missed. You'd think playing video games all day would make you better at aiming. I've got you right where I want you. Been cock-blocking Tora too much. Okay, but hear me out. Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. It'd be funny. That's it. Just, it'd be funny. I've got you right where I want you. What? As he says that, Shun grabs the bottom of his plate and flips it in one smooth motion. The plate lands right on top of Tora's head, splattering the various sticky sauces and vegetables all over his clothes and fur. You! Tora grabs his own plate and tries to do the same to Shun. Watch out! But instead of hitting Shun, the plate lands square in Shin's lap. Oh crap. Shin stands up, looking both confused and extremely angry. I'm going to ask this once. Why did you throw this at me? With each word, Torihiko tries to make himself smaller and smaller. Well, it wasn't meant for you, you see. Didn't you ever learn you're not supposed to play with your food? His ice-cold tone sends a shiver down my spine. The tiger jumps upright and stands still, almost as if he's being drilled by a sergeant. No, sir! I'm sorry, sir! I shouldn't have played with my food, sir! Shin lets out a deep sigh, then starts walking towards the bathroom. Whatever. Just help me clean this up. Tor instantly relaxes. It's obvious to all of us that he got off pretty light. In an act of petty revenge, Shun wipes his face off with Tora's napkin while he's gone. Oh, wow. Excuse me, I'll be right back. Sotaro rushes over to check on Shun. Huh, I didn't expect that. Glad to see he's made friends with the others. Me too. I was afraid he wouldn't open up to anyone at first. What do you mean? Well, like I said earlier, when he moved to Minasato, he was a very quiet kid. With good reason. Noticing my confused expression, Kyouji leans in closer. How do I put this? The reason him and his mother moved to Minasato is because his father passed away 3 years ago. Oh geez. I don't know how to react. I sit in front of Kyouji, mouth agape. My mind wanders to my own father. I can't imagine what that's like. From what he told me, his father died in a work-related accident. His mother decided to move to the countryside because she couldn't handle living in the city anymore. Poor Sotaro. He really hides it well. That's why I decided to watch over him, so to speak. He joined the soccer club of his own volition. It helps that he has quite a lot of talent for the sport. Can't wait to see him in action. He has heart. I want to see him succeed and move past this tragedy. As he says this, I see a lot of conviction in his eyes. I see. Enough to make me believe that the two of them could move mountains together if they wanted to. I'm sure you guys can work through it. If you ever need help, Hey, so what'd I miss? Kyouji leans back, leaving me dumbfounded. Hiroyuki and I were just talking about you, actually! You've been promoted! You are now one of my elite employees! I hope you're saying good things, Mr. Takahara. He chuckles, but the way he's running his hand through his hair betrays his embarrassment. I take a sip of my tea so I can look elsewhere. Of course! In fact, he wanted to come watch us practice tomorrow. Isn't that right, Hiroyuki? I choke on my drink. Struggling to breathe, only various sounds and gurgles come out of my mouth. Sotaro stares at me with wide eyes while Kyouji looks on in amusement. I mean, yeah! I'd love to watch you guys play soccer tomorrow. Yeah! Yeah, are you sure about that, Mr. Nishimura? Sotaro's looking down at his hands as he shuffles his feet. I swear I caught a glimpse of red in his cheeks. It's not that I don't want you to come, don't get me wrong. I just don't want you to be bored or anything. Oh, don't worry about that. I used to watch Kyouji play all the time back then. Well, if you want to, I don't mind. He looks up as he says that, and I can see just how flushed he is. He's a lot more shy than I first thought. Great! I'll be there tomorrow then. I smile at him and he smiles back. Yo, move fast, Hiroyuki! At that moment, Tatsuki's voice echoes throughout the restaurant. The giant comes lumbering toward us, swaying side to side with each step. Tatsuki, are you drunk? I'm not drunk. You are. That is something that a drunk person would say. Tatsuki, you are drunk. Someone get the pepper spray or a taser. Oh no! Oh no! That's actually a good idea. We don't want Tatsuki to get pregnant. You are. I only drink tea. He stops for a second, and I clearly see the gears in his head turning. Eventually, they stop, and he steps forward again. You've got some moves, little dude. Huh? I look over at Kyouji. Are you sure he's allowed to drink? Kyouji merely shrugs his shoulders and smiles, clearly enjoying the scene. It's fine. I'm old enough to get a bit tipsy. He seems more than just tipsy. Start looking around for help since Kyouji clearly isn't interested in doing so. I can see Sotaro's looking very uncomfortable right now. You just got back and you're already setting yourself up for a date? What are you talking about? Don't blow smoke in my face and tell me it's raining. I don't even... What does that even mean? Everyone could see you and Sotaro eyeing each other up from back there. Oh no. I can tell Sotaro's not liking this one bit by how much he's leaning away from the giant dragon. You're planning on taking Hiroyuki home, huh? What? You were asking about a date. Don't lie to me. No, you're wrong. I was just... Tatsuki suddenly slams his fist down on the table, making both of us jump out of our skin. Well, I won't have it. Maybe you're a good match, but I don't care. Yeah, everybody's looking at us now. Hero's mine, damn it. That's right. He's all mine and I don't want to share. Uh, um, uh, um, uh, um, on one hand, you're joyous, but on the other hand, save us. I'm completely frozen. He's uncomfortably close, meaning I can smell the alcohol in his breath. Let me go! Does he even know what he's saying anymore? Come on, Tatsuki. You don't really mean that. Of course I do. Let me prove it to you. Kyouji finally decides to get up from his seat as Tatsuki starts to slide off his vest. Tatsuki. I mean this in the nicest way possible. It probably isn't a good idea to have sex in a restaurant. Alright, big guy, you should leave the matchmaking to me. I think it'd be better for all of us if you went back to your seat, don't you agree? Aw, you're no fun. And just as abruptly as he arrived, Tatsuki leaves. That was uncomfortable. Take a look around the restaurant. Looks like he's decided to bother Shun at the moment, much to his dismay. Thanks for finally doing something, Kyouji. He claps his hands together. Everything was under control, Hiroyuki. I just wanted you to see what we have to deal with. Are you okay, Taro? Yeah, no worries, I'll live. He seemingly breaks out of the trance he's been in ever since Tatsuki left. Does that happen often? Often enough that we've learned how to deal with it. And live with it, I suppose. I see. I know where he's coming from on this. Dad can be quite a handful when he drinks too. Sometimes it's just easier to avoid them than to confront them. I apologize for not intervening earlier. I must admit, I enjoyed watching the two of you get so flustered. Mr. Takahara! How could you? Yeah, we nearly died. Don't be so dramatic. I stopped him before he went too far, didn't I? Kyouji turns towards Sotaro, who's still reeling from the experience. However, I do agree with Tatsuki on one point. Huh? The Labrador claps both his hands together and smiles wider than before. You two make a great match, wouldn't you agree? Mr. Takahara! I make eye contact with Sotaro, which makes things even worse. And he looked at me, and I looked at him. How does Kyouji know is Sotaro... I'm gonna say something fast. That's not true. Right, Sotaro? Kyouji smiles silently at us, clearly enjoying every second. Yeah! I've only just met Mr. Nishimura. I like him, but not like that. No, it's not a match made in hell. It's better than that. It's a match made in the grocery store dumpster. It's a match made beside the grocery store dumpster where cute couples go to kiss. Yes, stop it! You're only making it more awkward. I mean, not like romantically. I mean as a friend. I like him as a friend. Right, yeah, same, yeah. Smooth, Hiroyuki. Well, friends is a good start. Kyouji claps both his hands together. Glad to see you both agree. Mr. Takahara? Perfect. I'm glad this meeting went well. I expected no less from the both of you. You sly dog. Finally hits me what Kyouji was trying to do. I smirk at him and shake my head. I should have known he'd try something like this. No, the dumpster isn't on fire. The dumpster behind the grocery store is just where cute couples go to kiss. Like, Oh, I was wrong. It's not a grocery store dumpster. It's a gas station dumpster. Hey, Konosuke, what if we kissed by the gas station dumpster? Should have known to try something like this. I guess this means we're friends now, huh, Sotaro? I guess it does. He reaches out a hand for me to shake. Nice to meet you. I'm vaguely aware of my tail wagging behind me as my hand meets his. The party carries on for a couple more hours. Spend the time catching up with Kyouji and getting to know Sotaro better. I've missed being able to be myself like this. Damn. So crazy. Which one? No. My husband is never late. My husband is never late. Everyone else is just early. Are you proud of what you do? His gaze returns to the ground. It's brutish and violent. There's nothing to be proud about. I happen to be good at it because of my size. It's a lot of work for something you're not proud of. You don't mind practicing during your free time? It's summer vacation, after all. You're never going to improve if you don't put in the work. I'm fine with what I'm doing, Nishimura, even if I'm not proud of it. Huh. Juichi and I might live in the same world, but it seems we have completely different ways of looking at this. Or you think about joining a judo club in Osaka? No, I was just curious. I still think you should try something physical. Maybe talk to Takahara, he's better with sports. Though if you're interested in martial arts... His voice trails off. Nothing. Never mind. Are you saying you're not qualified enough to give me advice? I try saying something clever, but realize after I say it that it might not be the best idea. I'm a little disappointed in myself. Yeah. I'm decent at judo, but I'm still no match for our club captain. He's the one to talk to if you're interested in martial arts. His face and ears flush red. It's always easy to tell when Juichi's embarrassed. Are you okay? What? Sorry, I'm being boring, aren't I? No, not at all. You're really passionate, Juichi. His face relaxes a bit at my compliment. Thanks. No problem. For a moment, the two of us stand smiling at each other. And just as quick as the moment happens, it's broken by awkwardness. I should get going. That's right. Sorry, I didn't mean to keep you here so long. Don't worry about it. I started the conversation after all. Hang on. Hang on a goddamn minute. Pause. Dime. Wrong fucking server. Because, like, I want to do, like, a quick comparison. Compare and contrast. Okay. Obviously. Okay. This is what I'm doing. Quick compare and contrast. Takeshi is on the right. There's, dang on. Fuck, let me lower my phone brightness. My phone on. It's not. Okay. There's Takeshi, old Takeshi, and new Takeshi. See, it's still him. Fucking new Kazuo. That is shocking. That's it. I just wanted to bring that up. That's it. I know. It's so... They had a glow up. Yeesh, if I don't step in, these two will never stop. Oh, by the way, is Torihiko home? Just missed him, bro. Are we helping out or exploring? No, they both had a glow up. Ugh. Mentally kick myself as I continue to walk under the blistering heat of the summer sun. Why did I choose this over a broom? As much as I don't want to spend the next hour or so doing chores for Uncle Takeshi and Uncle Kazuo, perhaps I should have swallowed my pride. Maybe Takeshi's famed luck with women has something to do with the inn's air conditioning. With this heat, it could get anyone in the mood. I let out a heavy sigh and let my legs carry me to wherever. Huh? Is that? Takes me a moment to realize who I'm looking at, but after breaking into a light jog, the figure comes into a better view. Sotaro, the lion I had met yesterday, is hunched over on the bus stop bench. I recognize the bright blue jersey against his light fur, and as I get within shouting distance, I can see the book cradled in his lap. Hey! The lion jolts away from his book, his head whipping around to look where the shout had come from. Mr. Nishimura! I can just barely make out the confusion on his face before it breaks into a smile of recognition. He folds the book, keeping a finger wedged between the pages to mark his place and starts to wave. I really should have waited before getting his attention. It'll get awkward rather quickly if he has to keep waving for another minute or so while I walk. I really didn't want to run right now. Kill me! Please! As I reach him, I hunch over and pant dramatically. The lion just gives me a smile of pity. Yeah, the humidity ain't really so great today. I'm about to respond when suddenly I notice the bench he was previously sitting on. A soft whimper escapes me, my ears flatten against my head. Do you mind if I make a loose sweeping motion with my hand gesturing towards the bench? Sotaro blinks, giving me a sudden jolt, as if yanked away from a deep thought. He hastily sits back down, attempting to balance himself on the edge. Oh, of course, sorry. I pathetically sink down onto the bench beside him and attempt to catch my breath. As I regain my breath, a crow cries out from above. Okay, now the heavy breaths are just for show, but I have no idea what to say. Kyouji said that Sotaro and I were friends now, sure, but I'm still at a loss as to how to break the ice with the new guy. Ugh, why do I have to be so awkward? Wait, what's going on? Did you come here to join us for practice? I stare over at him, tilting my head to the side. Mr. Takahara said you might have other things lined up when we left the restaurant yesterday. Oh shoot, that's right. I was so excited to go see Tora, I completely forgot about Kyouji's invitation. Rubbing the back of my head, I cast a guilty glance over at Sotaro. That was today, wasn't it? The lion smiles at me and nods. Yeah, but it's alright. I mean, it is really hot outside. I flash him an embarrassed grin and give a quick nod. I don't see how you can handle it and while chasing a ball around, no less. It ain't so bad when you're actually playing. I nod in agreement. To be honest, I have no experience with soccer, but I want to keep the conversation going. Once again, I notice a book he's still holding. So, what you reading? The smile on his face widens a little. No, it's just a manga I picked up. I'm pretty late on it, but holds the book out to me and opens it to where his finger had been holding place. The black and gray panel shows a feminine-looking monster running alongside a brick wall that has been pockmarked by gunfire. It's really good so far. The series is supposed to be completed by the end of the year. I don't recognize this one. What's it about? Sotaro flips the book closed, no longer worried about preserving his place, and points at the title on the cover. It's called the Godlink. Basically, this programmer figures out how to make artificial intelligence and puts it in an app for raising digital pets and stuff. Ooh, I can see where this is going. The whole monsters in your pocket craze has made its way to smartphones. So the pets start coming out into the real world. I nod my head, leaning forward in interest. And then God sends down his army to kill everyone on the planet unless the pets and the developer are executed. Wait, what? My outburst gets a soft chuckle from the lion, and he pats his book excitedly. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's really good, especially if you like really violent monster fights. Well, now, I was honestly thinking you weren't going to show up, Hiroyuki. I barely have time to register who has snuck up behind the bench before a bottle of something delightfully cold is pressed into my hands. I knew it would be a good idea to buy an extra bottle. Oh, here's yours, Taro. Kyouji tosses a bottle towards Sotaro, the lion catching it with a smile. Thanks, Mr. Takahara. I appreciate it. Wish my manners were as good as Sotaro's, but instinct sees me as soon as the condensation on the plastic bottle soaks my fingers. Energy drinks are perfect thirst quenchers on a hot day like today. Perhaps I should have bought more. Look over at him as I finish off my bottle and then widen my eyes. Great. Now I'm choking. I see. Well, the bus should be here in just a few minutes. Will you be joining us, Hiroyuki? Feel Sotaro's hand thump on my back twice, only for him to slightly recoil. No doubt he felt the lake that formed on the back of my t-shirt. Thanks! Now able to breathe properly, I look over at Kyouji and nod. Sure, I don't have anything better to do. The bus arrives a few minutes later with the three of us aboard. We each take a ticket and move to our seats. The air conditioning on the bus is heavenly. I know I complained about it yesterday, but that was before I realized just how hot it was. Taking a deep breath, I glance over at Kyouji. So, are we going to a big practice day? I'd rather not stick out too much. Kyouji meets my glance with his own before shaking his head. Not at all. Today isn't a group practice. We just like to practice on our own. I nod, glancing over at Sotaro. He's sitting in the seat directly in front of Kyouji, eyes fixed on the pages of his manga. Aside from the three of us, the only other person on the bus is the driver. I see. Do you get a lot done like that? Turning my attention back to Kyouji, I watch as he chuckles and slumps down into a comfortable position in his seat. He drums his index fingers on his stomach in an almost thoughtful gesture. Taro and I often spend hours not saying anything, but just working our passes up and down the field. I smile and give another nod, taking the opportunity to adjust myself into a more comfortable position too. Kyouji and Sotaro must be totally in sync to be able to practice without words. You know, I kind of envy the two of them. I've not had anything like that, not since I moved to Osaka anyway. I can still see the top of Sotaro's head, even in this relaxed position. He's still utterly lost to everything outside his book. Whatever's happening within those pages must be intense. Probably something that other countries would find blasphemous. Through the windows, the countryside that characterized Minasato has morphed into fully paved highway. Even still, the lazy ambience of the bus is unbroken by the world outside. It seems that not too many drivers are traveling to Kazunari this way today. Is the school even open today, or are we just jumping the fence? The question is only met with silence as I watch a beat-up red pickup truck putter alongside us. I can just barely hear the light snore over the dull sound of the bus's engine, but it still drags my attention away from the elderly hare driving the pickup. Huh? Kyouji is slumped further into his seat, his hands clasped over his stomach, his mouth is slightly agape. I'm caught so off guard at the sight of the sleeping dog. I sit upright in my seat before leaning towards Sotaro. Psst, Sotaro! Lion's ears perk up when he hears his name whispered, and he turns sharply as if called on by a teacher. Catches eyes and motion towards Kyouji, fighting back the chuckle that was threatening to emerge. I wouldn't want to wake him, just in case he gets grumpy. Oh! No, don't worry. Sotaro's voice drops to a whisper to match mine as he glances over at Kyouji's slumped form, before turning back to me. He always falls asleep on the bus. Smiling and waving his hand in dismissal, the lion relaxes back in his seat and returns to his book. Always, huh? It doesn't seem much like a light nap to me, considering the deep rise and fall of his chest. Someone clearly woke up too much early. But then again, that's always been Kyouji. Kyouji roughly runs his fingers through the fur atop his head as he yawns, his free hand stretched out wide to match his arching back. Just a second, I've got the keys here. Kyouji slowly walks towards a door in the back of the school gym, seeming to fumble with the keys. I glance over at Sotoro, blinking in confusion. So you guys can just come here whenever you want? The lion shrugs, shoving his manga under the thick curtain of the gym stage. The club captain oversees practice, so I guess I can just come and go. I take a second to look around the sizable gymnasium, still as pristine as I can assume it was left when school let out for summer vacation. If only I were athletic, this would be the perfect place to hang out during the summer. Taro, can you bring me some water? I need to get the pump needle wet. Kyoji's voice echoes through the gym, breaking me out of my thoughts. I can just make out a shadow against the open door of a small closet. Of course, Mr. Takahara. Sotoro calls out to Kyouji before turning to look at me. Gives me a sheepish smile. I'll be back in just a sec, Mr. Nishimura. As the clatter of Sotoro's cleats die down in the hallway outside of the gym, all I can hear are the occasional thumps of half-deflated balls meeting wooden floorboards in the supply closet. I guess this place is... Excuse me, who let you in here? Whirl around as I hear a voice call out to me. It was soft and feminine, there was definitely an underlying tone of accusation. A dog girl walks menacingly towards me. Her deep blue eyes burn into mine, and I unconsciously take a step back. The school is closed! So you might want to think hard about what you're going to tell me! I gulp as the dog girl continues to approach me. What should I say? Well, we don't want to lie. Explode her. That's the secret option. Leave no witnesses. We are absolutely going to die. We don't talk about option 6. Nervous as I am, I managed to summon up the words I want. I came here with my friends, let me just... I don't think so! The girl takes a large step, blocking my way to the large closet where Kyouji is probably still sorting through equipment. I swear he's right in there! Quickly point towards the equipment closet. The girl raises an eyebrow. Is he now? I guess he'll have a stupid answer for me too, right? I blink in confusion. No? Before I even have a chance to react, the girl rushes me, snatching the fur atop my head. She yanks my head to the side, her free hand curled into a fist next to her cheek, cocked for a punch like a boxer. I still know a thief when I see one! Panic courses through me, tears starting to form. Squeeze my eyes shut and do the only thing that comes to mind. Kyouji! There's a sudden crash coming from the direction of the supply closet, and I open an eye. My attacker looks at me, a confused look in her eyes. Sayu, wait! Easy, Sayu, he's here with me. The girl's cold, piercing blue eyes roll up towards the ceiling as she relaxes.
It's time to drink water.
I didn't even realize that I had been holding my breath until
It's time to drink water.
Until her arms go slack and she steps away from me.
It's time to drink water.
This isn't a clubhouse, Kyouji.
It's time to drink
water.
water.
What did you tell you that? An uncomfortable expression comes to Kyoji's face and he glances to the side. I just wanted to kick the ball around with my friend here, nothing more. Take a few deep breaths and try to stop from hyperventilating as she stares back at me. Sorry, Sotoro freezes in the gym doorway as his eyes meet the girl's. A cup of water he's carrying sloshes out onto his jersey. His facial expression is that of someone who just got caught stealing from an old lady's purse. Sayu scoffs and makes a show of inspecting the nails on the hand she had seized me with. Listen, if you're going to keep doing these little private practices, you need to keep it to teammates only. Captain. She pauses as she looks at Kyouji, emphasizing her last word harshly. Kyouji purses his lips as he nods, glancing down at his shoes and clasping his hands behind his back. Yes, ma'am. The girl stares at Kyouji for a few moments before folding her arms over her chest. It's only now that I notice her light lipstick, as she runs her tongue lightly through her lips, searching for her next words. Just call me next time, okay? If someone gets hurt or something goes missing, I will, Sayu. You don't need to worry. As Kyouji cuts her off, she stares at him, her expression seeming to soften. He doesn't return the gesture, still keeping his eyes downcast at the worn floorboards below. Sayu silently turns and walks away. I got the water you asked for. Sotoro speaks softly as he crosses the distance to Kyouji. This time he keeps the cup supported with the hand cradling the bottom. Kyouji inhales sharply and glances at the cup being offered to him as if he'd just become aware that he wasn't alone in the room. Ah, yes. Thank you, Taro. Suddenly his expression changes and he clasps his hands together. Just a few more minutes, guys. I have to air up the new balls. I want to call out to Kyouji and ask him what the hell just happened, but the adrenaline still has quite a grip on me. My throat is dry and the proverbial cat seems to have taken off with my tongue. Sotoro seems to sense this and he clears his throat to catch my attention. That was the student council president. I'm not sure why she was even here. His voice seems even softer now that he had just addressed Kyouji. Softer now than how he had just addressed Kyouji. It's almost like a child whispering out an answer to a cheating classmate. The girl could be so scary. I shudder and glance over my shoulder at the gym doors, making sure that girl in question wasn't waiting to choke me into submission. Is she seriously going to hit me? My only response is a shrug and what I can assume is Satoru's most sympathetic look. Taro, can you hold this net open for me? As Kyouji's voice calls out through the gym, the line gives a wide smile. Coming! It's best if I tag along. I really don't want to be alone at the moment. Usually not that much of a pushover, but there was something about that girl that was terrifying. Despite the heat, the sunlight feels kind of soothing. This probably has something to do with the fact that the air conditioning in the gym works a little too well. Not to mention the fact that I was nearly murdered by an ice queen. Welcome to our home away from home, Hiroyuki. Kyouji drops a bulging mesh bag of soccer balls and stretches his arms high over his head. There's a faint popping sound followed by a satisfied grunt before he turns to face Sotaro and I. Have you ever played before? I feel my face warm up and I look down at the ground. I fooled around once or twice on the field in Osaka. Once I'm not lying about trying to pursue something athletic. Soccer club at my school in Osaka had once lost a ball that flew out into a ditch. The player who had kicked it must have forgotten about it and a lucky fox might have stumbled across it. I won't mention the fact that my first kick to this particular ball sent it sailing well over the goal. 3 more attempts saw the same result, much to my dismay. Great! We can skip over the fun stuff. We can skip to the fun stuff. Kyouji leans down and turns the bag upside down, letting the black and white balls fall out into the field. So, what position do you like to play? And here's where my little bluff completely falls apart. Well, you know, I'm good anywhere? Kyouji turns back to me and smirks, the ghost of a chuckle just escaping his nose. Is that so? Well, he claps a hand down onto Satoru's shoulder before he continues. I happen to have a midfield prodigy that might know a thing or two about tricky dribbling. And I suppose I'm a decent enough striker to show you one trick. Kyouji bends down again and picks up one of the balls. He braces the ball between his hands, checking its pressure, tossing it square into my chest. Flexibly, I catch it, staring at the checkered pattern before glancing back up at him. So, what's first? This lesson's free. Let my eyes shift between the two of them. Hooray! Exercise! There's a reason Kyoji's the captain of the soccer team. I clap my hands together and bow my head as if in a begging motion. Please, Kyouji! Give me a private lesson before you go pro. The uncomfortable expression seems to come to Kyoji's face at my request. You're giving me far too much credit. If anything, I think I'd much prefer teaching elementary school children how to play. Besides, you haven't seen me in a high school game. I'm decent at best. Frown makes his way to Sotaro's face and he shakes his head. That's... Shh! Kyouji cuts the line off, but there's a smile behind the finger he's holding against his lips. Very well then, come on, Hiroyuki. As Kyouji rushes off to another part of the field, Sotaro gives a slight smile and shakes his head. I guess I'll work on some drills by myself. You like Mr. Nishimura? The line gives a slight wave before rushing off to practice on his own. Taking a deep breath, I jog over to Kyouji, watching as he slowly dusts his hands off. Several soccer balls are already laid out in front of the empty goal, and he's slightly mouthing the number of balls he's placed down. Okay. I jolt, not expecting him to speak so suddenly. Turns and faces me with his usual smile. What do you know about bodily contact in soccer? Scratching my head, I think for a few moments before flicking my ears to the sides. It's a foul, right? As soon as I hear the soft chuckle, I frown and glance down at the grass. Wrong! I look back at him. He holds his finger out and marches across the line of the soccer balls. Though he looks like a drill sergeant, his smile never breaks. Youth soccer doesn't allow much in the ways of physical contact with another player, but here... Kyouji whirls around sharply, his eyes meeting mine, hands firmly clasped behind his back. We play for real. I gulp and nod, my whiskers twitching nervously. Now, I'm going to show you something useful in creating space for your shot. You'll be under a lot of pressure from the defending team. So you need to buy yourself a second to get control of the ball before you shoot. Now, try to get this ball back down the field. He gives a command with a smile, but remains standing in the same position. I stare down at the ball, then back at him. Like, right now? Kyouji nods, his warm smile parting into a toothy grin. With another nervous gulp, I roll the ball back towards myself at the bottom of my shoe, then turn to dribble back to the opposite goal. I really hope I don't have to go too far. Perhaps betraying a lineage related trucks. Kyouji's grandfather's truck-kun confirmed. Kyouji slams into me with the force of about 7 of them. I topple to the side and skid on my shoulder with just enough time to see something amazing. A sculptor would probably kill to see what I'm seeing right now. It feels like slow motion. Kyouji kicks the ball with such force he almost seems to hover for a second. Like a large black and white bullet, the ball soars into the far right corner of the net. Left speechless as the dog raises his arms high and clasps his fingers together, stretching his back and shoulders with a satisfied sigh. As if remembering that I'm here, he lets a hand drop to his hip and glances over his shoulder at me, smiling apologetically. Sorry, Hiroyuki. Shoulder charges are second nature to me now. Left gaping in awe at his explanation, but filled with determination to learn how to do it. We're gonna die. Okay, just remember you want to keep your feet planted and your shoulder touching mine. Otherwise, it will be a foul. Kyouji and I must look like Siamese twins to any onlookers right now, as I've been glued to his shoulder for the past few minutes. I haven't quite been able to force him away from the ball yet, despite that being the goal of this exercise. Alright, this is where you're going to use your height. Or lack thereof. I frown as he chuckles through his nose at me. Or lack thereof. Hey! Against me. Think of it as though you're uprooting a tree and shove me away. How the fuck? Dropping my weight just a bit into my knees, I let Kyouji's own weight rest into my upper shoulder. With all my focus devoted to envisioning him as a tree, I shove upwards. That's it! Shoot the ball! Leaning over him before I realized that the drill isn't even over yet. Damn it, a real opponent would have already picked himself up by now. Right! Take an awkward running start and wind up for the kick. In step! And take Kyouji's advice at the last second, cocking my foot sideways and making contact with the ball. Yeah! A great sense of pride washes over me as I watch the ball soar into the goal net. Hear an enthusiastic round of applause from Kyouji, which makes the smile on my face even bigger. Yeah, it was probably the most flimsy shot that the soccer champion in the making has ever seen, but I'll take what I get. Especially given that this was my first ever goal. It's your Takahari, alright. Sotoro rushes over and watches as Kyouji stands up. Never better! Deciding it's best to put an end to my showboating, I catch my breath and slowly walk back to where I had left my teacher. Okay, what's next, coach? Kyouji offers me an apologetic smile before giving Sotoro a playful tap on the ribs. Well, Taro and I should probably run through a few drills. If you like, you can still work on your shooting. Give him a wide grin as thoughts of becoming an amazing soccer player run through my mind. Sure, sounds good to me. Here I come! You sure about that? The trees behind the bleachers are positioned just right to give me all the shade I'd need for a light snooze. I've played with my soccer ball only 10 minutes after Kyouji and Sotoro left me alone. The heat was melting me and the shade was just too good to pass up. With the sound of the birds and a beautiful little breeze just now starting to pick up, I'm almost asleep. Excuse me. Feeling a yawn die in your throat is certainly an odd feeling, perhaps matched only by one's bladder almost betraying them. Oh, my apologies, I didn't realize you were resting. Push myself back into a proper sitting position and pull my shirt, which had inched itself above my navel, back down. No, I was just taking a break. I think we're good now. I would like to apologize for earlier. Sayu cuts me off as I prepare to jump off the side of the bleachers. I pause, realizing her tone is genuine. Her eyes are focused on the empty row in front of me. I see hesitance in the way she's curling a lock of her hair around her index finger. No, it's not a big deal, I guess. Did you want to sit down? Gesture to the seats beside me, inviting her to sit. She simply looks back at me before nodding. Thank you. The way she carries herself now seems so different from the cold and precise manner she nearly killed me with earlier. Holding her skirt down against her thighs, she climbs into the bleacher row in front of me and settles down with a straight posture. Watch as she sits before settling down myself. I volunteered to manage the girls' volleyball team this summer, and so I needed to be sure the facilities were unlocked for practice later on today. As she explains herself, she finally turns to face me, her eyes meeting mine. With a small smile, she shrugs her shoulders. Imagine my surprise when I saw the gym was already open and a stranger was walking around inside. I give a nervous chuckle as memories of earlier rush back into my mind. Well, you sure surprised me too. Turning away again, Sayu taps on her knees and inhales through her teeth. Honestly, I figured you were a thief, or maybe some kind of pervert waiting for the girls. My eyes go wide in surprise. No, I'm not. No, not. Suddenly hear a sound I don't expect. She giggles and turns back to me, flashing perfect pearly teeth for a moment. No, I'm told I could be a bit less confrontational. Give me a long one this time, Taro. Got it, Mr. Takahara. The sound of Kyouji's voice pulls her gaze out into the field. We both fall silent as we watch him sprint down the field, Sotaro trailing behind with the ball. She shifts a little as the ball is passed to Kyouji and her hands curl into the hem of her skirt. See her forearm tense as Kyouji races the rest of the distance towards the goal. So, Miss Sayu? It is Sayu, right? Continuing to watch the field, she nods. Sayuri Tachibana. Why does that surname sound so familiar to me? I shrug it off as she finally adjusts herself in her seat so that she can look at me directly. I suppose you're the fabled Hiroyuki, correct? I blink, staring back at her in confusion. Yeah, how did you know? Her expression remains neutral. I can see the gleam of amusement within her eyes. Kyouji talked about you a bit. My tail swishes almost reflexively. Kyouji told the student council president about me? Sorry if I'm being too nosy, but were you guys like... I trail off, leaving Sayu to purse her lips and glance away for a moment. I guess you could say that. Well, once upon a time, anyway. She goes quiet and stares back out onto the field. I'm honestly not sure how to proceed from that revelation, but I guess it's not really that surprising. Soccer team captain and student council president, huh? Sounds like a good fit. So are you the volleyball team captain or just the manager? Sayu shakes her head, still keeping her gaze faced towards the field. No, I'm just helping during the summer. I've had my fill of athletics. My interest piqued, I lean forward in my seat. Oh, what did you do before? A sly smile comes across her face, and she turns, giving me a sideways glance. I won the AIBA Women's Junior Boxing Championship in 2014. Bantamweight. Wait, seriously? Then that means you were really gonna... She crosses her arms and completely turns to look at me. You should always assume that when a lady has her hands up, it's serious. I gulp and nod, curling my tail around myself as if it were a shield. Yes, ma'am! Sayu smiles and turns back to the field where Kyouji has stripped his shirt off and is mopping his brow. I suppose you guys will be leaving soon, so I won't hold you up. I just wanted to make sure you got a proper apology. She quickly slides out to the side of the bleachers, dusting off the seat of her skirt and smoothing it down. I'm going to stop it for the ad when I break from the ads. Oh no, she could have just straight up murdered us. Glancing up at me, she gives me a nod. I trust you'll be more careful next time. Once more, she crosses her arms, but the light smile she offers seems genuine. I return her smile and nod back towards her. Yeah, sure thing. She gives a slightly wider grin, exposing her teeth once more. I see that you do. Goodbye, Hiroyuki. Her hair whips out along the bleacher's support beam as the breeze picks up. It's the last part I see of her before she disappears. Yeah. Okay then. Was that Sayu again? Did I miss something? I turn as Kyouji calls out to me, noticing he and Sotaro are now in front of the bleachers. With a smile, I shake my head. Oh, nothing important, just chit-chat. Glad I have my tail shielding me. I didn't expect a shirtless Kyouji to be so close to me. His brow furrows as he glances over at the swaying locks of dark hair in the distance, before they disappear back into the gym. The corner of his mouth curls up slightly as he heaves a sigh. I suppose we should call it a day then. Hopefully we won't smell too bad on the ride home. Tuck my nose under my arm for a moment to see if my deodorant is still working. It isn't. With a sigh, I help Kyouji and Sotaro put the balls away before we head for the bus stop. We managed to make it on time, but during the bus ride home, I can't help but wonder. Why does her name sound so familiar? Oh, wait. We're gonna leave off here tonight. Stay safe, have a good night, and I will see you all tomorrow.